Hello everyone, let's talk about this question. It's called caps lock. We're told how caps lock works here, and it says that sometimes accidents occur. In this question, we are considering a word has been typed with the caps lock key accidentally switched on if it only contains uppercase letter, makes sense, or all letters except the first one are uppercase. So something like hello would be an example of the error, or something like bye will be another example. The first one because all are uppercase, and the second one where everything except the first character is uppercase. That gives us our two situations or scenarios. In this case, we should automatically change. If this is the case, we should automatically change the case of all of the letters. For example, if the letter is like that, we'll change it. Write a program that applies the rule above mentioned. If the rule cannot be applied, the program should leave the word unchanged. Our input, the first line of the input contains a single word consisting of uppercase, lowercase, Latin letters, word length between 1 and 100 characters inclusive. Print the result of the given words processing is our output. So like we mentioned earlier, we have two scenarios. One, let's type it out. All, actually I'm gonna write this in uppercase as well, all uppercase. And our second is every thing except first character is uppercase. Now let's think about these two scenarios. All we have to do is check this with a function. If it is true, we will change all characters. Change all characters. Similarly, we will do a similar process here. We won't be changing all characters here. There's some nuance here. Change uppercase to lower and vice versa. That is all we have to do. For this, the way I implemented it is that I created two functions that check these, each of the scenarios, and then simply change the things that we have to change. So let's look at how the code would look. We'll start off with my template, but even before the main function, let's work on our functions that I talked about. Let's call it is caps lock 1, which will take in a string, and let's say for all characters in S, if anything is lowercase, so if anything is not upper, not S, C, we will return false. If that is not the case, we'll return true. What this essentially means is that we're going through the string and checking if any of them is not upper. If that is the case, we'll return false. If that is not the case, we'll return true. Here true essentially means that we will have to change this later. Now let's look on to our second function. Let's call it is caps lock 2, which will take in the string S. In this string, we're checking if the first character is lower and all of the other characters are uppercase. So we're checking if is lower S at 0, or actually we should check if the first character is not 0, because if it is not 0, we can simply return false, and then we don't have to change the character in any way. For the remaining, we will run through our loop for int I equals 1, I less than this length. We'll check if all of them are not upper, because when we have done that, we'll simply return false whenever we find a lowercase letter. That means that it wasn't accidentally typed that way. If that is not the case, we'll simply return true, which means that we'll have to do some work in our main function. We've defined our caps lock 1 and caps lock 2. So now let's go in here. Let's start with our string s. We will input our string and let's initialize our result string. Now we're checking if is caps lock 1 for the string s, essentially checking if the function returned true. If that is the case, we will run through the whole string and append the lower character, so 2 lower s of I. Since caps lock 1 was checking if all of them are uppercase letters, and since if they were uppercase letters we would have to change their case, now they would be lowercase letters. Once we've done that, we will check our caps lock 2 of s, essentially checking if caps lock 2 returns a true. If that is the case, we will append result plus equals to upper s at the first position. We're doing this because our first character in the second situation was a lowercase letter and we have to turn it into an uppercase letter. Once we've done this, we'll now run through the remaining string and put them to the lowercase letter. Because they would have been uppercase letter in the incorrect scenario, we're just turning it into lowercase. Else, this is the best part, we don't have to do anything, so our result is the string that we gave it and we simply output the result. That is the code for this question. We'll have to include string and cc type here for this code to work, but that is about it. If you can find a more optimal way to solve this, I think this might be going overboard making 2 functions, but if you can find a better way to solve this, please let me know in the comments. That is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching.